How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are doing another community questions video. However, this is one that we have covered in the past, but there were so many comments on there that I didn't get to cover that were really good that I wanted to go back and do it again. You guys really enjoyed that video, so I figured you'd be interested in hearing more as well. And I know plenty of you guys are very interested in hearing the rest of the comments from a lot of the topics as well, so we'll definitely go back and we'll do that today. But anyway, I hope you enjoy. If you do, make sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, because I upload pretty much almost every single day. So if you like a nice steady mix of RuneScape content, then definitely click subscribe so you get notified and don't miss out on any more. One last mention, I do have a second channel, which is just basically for extra content like shorts and stuff that wouldn't have made it to this channel in the first place. I will still upload shorts here every now and again, but if you're interested in more content, there's a link in the description. Click on that and subscribe to the shorts channel as well. Anyway, the question we're going back and touching on again is, what are some items you would love adding to the game that do not exist? For example, unmagic notepaper. You guys left a ton of other suggestions down below in this comment section, so I wanted to go through that again. Let's get going, shall we? So the first comment is from Spork Red Fox. I think I said that right for once. Archaeology, artifact storage. I know archaeology gave us more bank space, but having artifacts cluttering the bank is frustrating. I freaking agree with this. I actually went through and deleted so many artifacts when I was cleaning my bank, and now that I kind of wish I hadn't done that, I wasted so much XP, but that's not the point. The point is, it uses up so much of your bank space to keep all these artifacts there. Like, so many people say the same thing all the time. Like, there's just no room in your bank left because of freaking archaeology in these artifacts. Yes, you could restore them and hand them all in, but that, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to work like that, right? Because you've got loads of ones that you've already handed in and you have to finish off logs and stuff. It'll take a long time, basically, to go through and clear all of those off. So having like an archaeology artifact storage would definitely be something that I'd be interested in. We have a material storage, right? So we could just maybe even make it so that once you hit 99 or even 120 maybe, then you can actually upgrade your storage box to include artifacts as well, or maybe get some sort of like warehouse for them. I don't know how it would normally work. What do you guys think? How would they implement this? And would you be even interested in this anyway? Personally, I think this would be a great idea. I really do. I don't understand why we have to store them in the actual bank. It's not really a big problem to be able to give us that bank space back, especially since bank space is so freaking tight anyway. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I'd be very interested in hearing about this one, because I think there'd be a few people that are against it, but I'd be interested in knowing why. The next comment comes from Brandon, and you say, I'd like to see an upgrade to weapons or enhance. Maybe put items in the game that require 120 smithing, so you could enhance to make weapons stronger and unlock another attribute. So the way that they do it at the moment is, well, the way that it seems to be is when a new tier of weapons come out with the tier 95s within this, they don't seem to upgrade really anything else. You just make them from scratch from their own components. Now this is fine, but in a way it kind of makes all of the previous items more redundant and not really sought after as much, which makes the price of them crash, which not only like makes that item crash, it makes the boss that the content they came from is just kind of not worth doing. Like the Magister now is really cheap, it's just not worth doing at all. Telos at the moment is still worth doing for the Dormant Seren bow. And it's still pretty good for like normal like loots and stuff, and it's probably decent consistent money still. However, the value of an orb set around about now is about 400 mil. It's just not as much as you would expect from Telos, right? And I'd say Telos is still probably the hardest boss in the game, especially as you get towards higher enrages. So the fact that because he has tier 92 weapons and tier 95s are now out, that alone kind of makes him a lot less worth doing, a lot less of a focus. Had we actually gone to a way where we upgrade the tier 92s into tier 95s, that would have made the value of items and weapons actually hold so much better. And we know this because we can look at other items as well, like defenders are a great example of this. Offhand weapons for tier 90s still hold their value pretty strong because you can upgrade them into defenders. For example, the seismic singularity was always something that was freaking expensive because you always used it for the Calphite rebounder as an example. The same thing applies for tier 90 armor. The prices of like Tectonic, for example, haven't crashed and burned because you upgrade that tier 90 armor into tier 92s. I just think this would have been a better way to go with stuff, but that's just my personal opinion, I suppose. I'm sure there's plenty of other people who agree, and no doubt there's plenty of people who just disagree. So let me know in the comments which side you're on. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree? Do you think it would have been better to upgrade the weapons into tier 95s, or do you think just building them the way they are and the way it's being done now is the best way to go as well? Even give a little bit of information on why you think that. It'd be really interesting, to be honest. This question alone, this comment alone, could literally be the most interesting part of the comment section. Let's just find out, shall we? The next comment says, part of me wants to say double resonance codex just because of how strong it would be. The same part of me realizes that that would be busted and trivialize a lot of bosses. It would end up making the game less fun. So I can definitely see where you're coming from. Having a second resonance would be so freaking useful. But like you say, it would make a lot of bosses really easy. A great one that comes to mind for me probably is Kerapak, right? On the last phase, you could double resonance and heal through that and get a full heal pretty much from that last phase. It will be incredibly useful. But this is going to be useful in a lot of other places as well, and there's probably some better places for it. However, when I say useful, part of me also just means overpowered as hell, because being able to just heal up like that would definitely make a lot of bosses that are already no foodable, like easily no foodable. You just wouldn't need food for it a lot of places, even places that you need now. Having a second resonance, damn, that could be incredibly strong. That being said though, on the other hand, it could allow them to implement more stuff into the game, new bosses that are a lot more difficult that actually require you to use this as a mechanic, which would be interesting. Whether they could limit the use of it to maybe just those areas, possibly. I'm sure that's something they could do. So it could be interesting, but it would have to be worked in a way that doesn't break the rest of the game, but it also allows them to do other stuff with the game as well. Having a double resonance could be pretty useful, or double like defensive abilities in certain places with maybe a slight cooldown between them, but not as big as normal. It could definitely allow them to add maybe more difficult content into the game. And personally, I actually would love to see a boss, right, that takes so freaking long to kill it. It's so hard, it stresses you out. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of practice to do it. But I'm not talking about like the normal difficult bosses that we've got now. I'm talking about like something that is ridiculously difficult, just as a challenge sort of thing. And it doesn't even need to drop anything massively good. Like it just the fact of killing it and be able to kill it yourself is the achievement enough. I don't know, I'd be keen for that. The next comment comes from 3D ROM, and you say, limited macros like equip item X, Y, and Z. I find that having to press or dedicate exclusive keybinds for switches is a major annoyance to learn to use switches. So this is a topic that I talked about in the past, right? I've talked about macros in the past, whether you should be allowed to use them or not, and I think we came to the decision that you shouldn't really be allowed to just run macros, but maybe there should be something in-game where they limit you to be able to just use maybe just like 1 to 2, like rather than just do like a 1 to 7 or something. Because if you macro something outside of RuneScape, you can quite easily basically make a freaking bot for it. A lot of the stuff in this game is click at the bank on a specific place and then just stand there and wait, right? You could quite easily do half the game with just a macro, and that's where the problem comes in, right? But if they could make this so that it was in game and all you could do is like a 1 to 2, so like pressing number 1 could press 2 other keys, this could make it a lot easier for people getting into switching and PVM and stuff. Like you could literally just press 1 button and then it'll put on both your dual wield weapons, but then it would also allow Jagex to control how much it was actually allowed to do. But they could make sure it wasn't overpowered. They could make sure people weren't doing like a full armor and weapon switch with 1 button, or they weren't doing ridiculous amounts of things like a full SGB switch or something with ingenuity of the humans and stuff just by 1 press of a button. The thing is though, people do that at the moment. I know they do. People are probably saying in the comments, yeah, I use macros. They're probably not fussed. You absolutely shouldn't use them, and I would recommend against it, because if you lose your account just from like getting a little bit of like that just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I know people do it, and I feel like if they had this option in game and it was limited, a lot less people would do like the big stupid ones, like the over the top ones that might as well be bots and stuff, and would probably be just go to this option. Most MMOs these days do have this as a thing. I don't know if it has an actual place in RuneScape or not. I mean, I cope without them anyway, but I know a lot of people would probably do more PVM. A lot more people would be interested in learning higher end stuff and probably use more switches than that if this was a thing. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you think that an in-game macro system where it's just like 1 or 2 different keys, maybe 3 at the most, would be something that would fit into RuneScape or not? I'm interested in seeing you guys' thoughts since the last video that I did was quite a while ago. The next comment says, a new farming animal that you can harvest livid plants from. Livid farm blows and the points are too slow. Maybe just fix dead content. So there's a couple of things in here, right? Maybe just fix dead content as one. And then of course the livid plants bit. I mean, I wouldn't be against getting more livid plants into the game and skipping through that. But at the same time, if the content wasn't boring, we might not want to skip through it. If we could maybe do something more fun that still takes time, but it's actually enjoyable to do to get the points, then I'd be all for that. I would be absolutely fine with doing stuff and it takes hours to actually get the thing, as long as the thing that you were doing wasn't boring as hell. Livid farm is just not fun. Yes, you could do it on a second screen while you're watching something on Netflix, but that's not playing a game. If you want to play a game, you want to sit down, you want to enjoy stuff, you don't want to just sort of I don't know, mindlessly click something, not even paying attention to it. If you want to unlock something, you should enjoy the journey to unlocking it. Like, there's a lot of stuff in the game that is a long, really long grind, but it's really enjoyable to do, and that's why people still do it. That's why people still play RuneScape. They enjoy the achievements of like 99s and stuff. They enjoy unlocking this and unlocking that and the quests and all that sort of stuff. Once you get into it, it's actually not that bad. But Livid Farm and some mini games to unlock certain things literally just absolutely hurt your brain. It is insane. I would not be against getting more livid plants into the game. I really wouldn't. I have mine now. I've got my last. I need one more livid plant, I think, to be able to get to it. I'm not even like a full plant away. I'm literally like 1,000 points or something stupid like that away from it. I just don't want to go to the livid farm and do it myself. I'd rather just wait for the next livid plant on merchant and get it that way. But maybe adding it into like an animal that you can just keep farming it from and get more and more. I know you can get a livid plant from the player on farms, but if you could just keep farming it yourself, maybe, yeah. I don't see why not. But again, that's kind of like a band-aid fix, right? It's still not going to be the most fun thing. If they could just rework Livid Farm so it was enjoyable, maybe that would be a better option. What do you guys reckon? Next up, we have a really quick one that says Charm Bag, Artifact Bag, and Stone Spirit Bag. Yep, I agree with this pretty much. I don't understand why we don't have a Charm Bag or a Stone Spirit Bag. Freaking Stone Spirit Bag, dude. Yes, please. Like, it just saves you inventory space and bank space, right? But at the same time, like, we have a Gizmo bag, we have a gem bag. There's no reason not to give us a bag for these as well, just so that those like 5 or 10 bank spaces can be converted into one. It would just be so much better. It would give people more bank space back. It would allow for things to be more organized, and there's no reason not to do it. Like, it doesn't benefit us in an overpowered way or anything. It would just be, you can store stuff in here now. That's no reason not to do it, seeing as we've got the gem bag, we've got the herb bag, we've got so many different things that work the exact same way. I feel like they've just not got around to this yet. It might happen eventually. We might get a Stone Spirit bag or a Charm bag. The Charm one seems pretty obvious. There's a lot of charms. It would only change like, what is it, like 6 or 7 into that, but maybe you could put like your shards in there as well, all that sort of stuff, like your spirit gems. Spirit gem bag, please. There's so many spirit gems filling up my bank. I just want to get all this stuff, put it into one container and be like, done. Don't need this anymore. So this is one that I'm pretty sure a lot of people would just agree with. There's probably not much saying like, oh, I don't want that. I want all my charms and all my gems and stuff in the bank, because if you wanted that, you could do it anywhere, whether it was a bag or not. But I'm sure most people would rather just dump this into the same place and be done with it. So personally, I really like this one. I like this idea. Come on, Jagex. Just this one. Just this one. Just get this one added into the game, please. Okay, so this will be our last comment, and it says a wilderness boss and a city in the wilderness. This is something I've talked about as well, to be honest, in the past, but not necessarily a boss or a city. This is a kind of a cool idea, but just the wilderness as a whole. There's a lot of space up there that's not being used for anything, really. Like, it is dead, pretty much. The wilderness is dead. There's a couple of hot spots where people will go to do the prayer at the altar, for example, or is that it? There's not much. The agility course, I suppose, is another place that people would use. There's really not much reason to go into the wilderness, and a lot of people despise PKing. So it would be nice to see if they could rework that. There's a massive landmass there. They could have a city in the wilderness and just make it not necessarily the wilderness where it's PvP. They could make it so it has the same aesthetic, so it looks the same and it has the same feel, and it could be like a dangerous place, but it could be maybe not PvP dangerous. It could be roaming bosses. Maybe there's like roaming bosses. They drop good loot and stuff, but you have to go and hunt them down. You have to find them. This could be another thing for Hunter even. You could actually go through the wilderness looking through, and maybe you have to track bosses, and they can actually be anywhere. They can go anywhere in the entire wilderness, and you have to find them and hunt them down. And if you accidentally walk into them when you're heading towards the city, maybe the city you can't teleport to it. You have to walk to it. You have to make your own way to it every single time. And as you walk there, if a boss comes across you, you could be in a lot of danger. Maybe these have to be group bosses. I don't know. This is just something that's literally, as I'm talking, is coming into my head, and I'm just sort of throwing them out there. Is there anything that you guys would love to see the wilderness become? Because I feel like it's just wasted content at the moment. There's so much space there that could be used for other stuff. There's so many other ideas that they could put in there. If it means removing the PvP aspect, then remove it. Or maybe it's a toggleable thing that people have to opt in and opt out of if they want to do that still, then fine. But I feel like there could just be a lot more done with it, and I feel like it's just sort of sat asking for a rework in some way. How would you guys rework the wilderness? I'd be interested in hearing this. Maybe this could be a community post itself. I'm sure there'd be plenty of ideas for this. In fact, I'll probably put this up straight away. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this. I'd be really interested. If you want to hear a video just on this to see what everyone's thoughts are about the wilderness, let me know and I can definitely do that. We can get that sorted out. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Like I said, there is a second channel which for shorts and extra content and stuff. If you're interested in that, that, like I said, go to the description, click the link and follow through and subscribe to that channel as well. Thank you all to my channel members. Your names will be on screen right now. I really appreciate the extra support that you provide. It's absolutely amazing and it does help out more than you guys know. If anyone else wants to support the channel and also get some perks while you do that as well, click the join button that's just by the subscribe button. It'll open up a little window. You can read through all the perks and stuff, and if you would like any of those and you would just like to support the channel, that would probably be the best way to do it. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later guys. Bye.